Make it little this thing na maximize it.
Enough, sir.
Okay, it will do.
Good morning, everyone. Today I'll tell about how to find the output equation for a three-phase induction motor. So before finding the output equation, we have to know some terminologies. E phase is the induced EMF per phase in volts, and I phase is the current per phase in ampere. Iz is the current in each conductor, that is given by I phase by A, where A is the number of parallel paths. T phase is the number of turns per phase. Phi is the flux per pole in the air gap, that is in Weber. P is the number of poles. Kw is the winding factor. Ns is the synchronous speed in RPS. BAV is the specific magnetic loading or average flux density in the air gap in Weber per meter square. AC is the specific electric loading. D is the diameter of the stator core and L is the length of the stator core. Efficiency, full load efficiency, cos phi is the full load power factor. So we know three-phase induction motor has one parallel path per phase. Then KVA rating of a machine is given by KVA output equation Q is equal to number of phase into EMF per phase into current per phase into 10 power minus 3. So Q will be equal to 3 E phase I phase into 10 power minus 3. And induced EMF per phase is given by 4.44 Fi T phase into Kw. So this equation we are going to substitute in equation 1. So the equation 1 becomes Q will be equal to 3 into 4.44 F phi T phase Kw into I phase into 10 power minus 3. Let us consider this as an equation 2. Now we know the synchronous speed in RPM will be equal to 120 F by P. So that we can express in terms of RPS. So after substituting this in synchronous speed in RPM, we are going to get frequency will be equal to P into Ns by 2. So now we are going to substitute this equation in equation 2. So we are going to get Q will be equal to 3 into 4.44 PNS by 2 into 5 T phase Kw into I phase into 10 power minus 3. So after cancelling 2 and 4.44, we are going to get Q is equal to 3 into 2.22 5 T phase Kw into PNS into I phase into 10 power minus 3. And after simplification, we are going to get Q will be equal to 6.665 into T phase into I phase into Kw P into Ns into 10 power minus 3. Let us take this as equation 3. And we know the total number of conductors will be equal to the number of phase into 2 into turns per phase. So here we are deriving the output equation for three phase induction motor. So hence the number of phase will be equal to 3 and 2 into T phase. So the total number of conductors will be equal to 6 T phase. So from this T phase will be equal to Z by 6. And substituting this in equation 3, we are going to get Q will be equal to 6.665 Z by 6 into I phase into Kw into PNS into 10 power minus 3. After cancelling, we are going to get Q will be equal to 1.11 into P phi Iz into Z into Ns into Kw into 10 power minus 3. And here Iz is nothing but which is equal to I phase. And also we know that specific magnetic loading BAV is equal to P phi by pi dl. So from this P phi will be equal to BAV pi dl. and specific electric loading AC will be equal to Iz into Z by pi d. So from this Iz into Z will be equal to AC into pi d. So substituting these two expressions in equation 4, we are going to get Q will be equal to 1.11 into BAV pi dl into AC into pi d into Ns into Kw into 10 power minus 3. So hence the output equation is given by Q will be equal to 1.11 pi square BAV AC into Kw into D square into Lns into 10 power minus 3. So here we can take the constants as the output coefficient of the AC machine C0. So here C0 will be equal to 1.11 pi square BAV AC into Kw into 10 power minus 3. So this output equation can also be expressed in terms of HP. So that is kVA is equal to HP into 0.746 by efficiency into cos phi. And in terms of kilowatts, it is given by kilowatts by efficiency into cos phi. Thank you, sir.
Okay, very good presentation. So others are ready.
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah. Start, Jyoti. You also can start your presentation. It was very nice, Chaitra.
Sir, PPT is visible.
It's okay. Yeah, it's visible. You present.
Good morning, all. Today I am going to explain crawling in induction motor. As we can see in the picture, this is an induction motor block diagram. In this, an induction motor is also an AC electric motor. Here we are having the stator and the rotor. The stator and the rotor having the slots. When we apply the three-phase supply to this motor, rotating magnetic field will produce, and that will cut the rotor winding. And EMF will produce in rotor winding from the Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction, and it generates torque. And here we are using the squirrel cage induction motor. And it what is the meaning of squirrel cage means at the end it has a skewed end rings. And in this induction motor, what will happen is two undesirable effects occurs that will cause improper functioning of the motor. Means motor run at a very low speed is known as a crawling and cogging. These are the two undesirable effects that occurs. And we will see what is crawling. In squirrel cage induction motor exhibits a tendency to run at very low speeds, as low as 1/7 of the synchronous speed. This phenomenon is known as an induction motor. Means our motor it has to run at a speed of ns. Means if you take the frequency as 50 hertz and pole has 4, it will run at 1500. But it exactly not run at 1500, but near to 1500 it will run. But due to crawling, it will run at a speed of 1/7 of synchronous speed, is known as a crawling. We will see why 1/7 we are taking, why we are not taking 3 and 5 harmonics. We will see. In the induction motor, what will happen is in stator flux wave is produced, and it's not a sine wave. It's a non-sinusoidal wave, and it's a complex wave, and it's in the Fourier series. Means the fundamental when we draw the graph, the fundamental wave, and with that the harmonics is also present. Means odd harmonics is present. Why we are not considering the even harmonics means it's in the Fourier series form. The flux wave shape has half wave symmetry. All even harmonics are absent. Means 2, 4, 6 are absent, and it's a non-sinusoidal flux. It can be resolved into fluxes of fundamental and in higher order odd harmonics. Means 3, 5, 7, 11, 13 is present. As we can see, we are only considering 3rd, 5th and 7th harmonics, and the harmonic speed is ns by 3, ns by 5, and it will rotate at a speed of ns by 3, ns by 5 and ns by 7. and it occurs at the same time with the addition with the fundamental torque. And we are neglecting the third harmonic. Why we are neglecting third harmonic means the flux wave of all three phase are in the space phase but differ in time phase by 120, and it neutralize each other. The third harmonics will neutralize each other, so we are not considering that. In the previous semester, as we know, the three phase winding carrying a sinusoidal current produces a space harmonics in the order of h is equal to 6k plus or minus 1. Yesterday, sir also told that 6k plus or minus 1. The k is any positive integer 1, 2, 3. If we substitute 6k minus 1 is in the opposite direction. If we take the plus sign, 6k plus 1 is in the same direction. If you substitute k is equal to 1, then 6k minus 1, it becomes 5. Then fifth harmonic, that's in the backward direction. It rotates at a speed of ns by 5, that's in reverse direction, and it's in the braking region. It's in the braking region, and it is the opposite to the direction of the stator and the rotor speeds, and it produces the braking torque. And when we substitute 6k plus 1, here we are substituting k is equal to 1, it's in the same direction. Then the speed is ns by 7, that's in forward direction, and it's in the motoring mode. The fifth is in the braking mode, and the seventh is in the motoring mode. Then the fifth harmonic we will neglect. So it's in the braking mode. So the resultant torque what we are getting is fundamental torque plus seventh harmonic torque. And here we are in the fourth sem we study speed and torque characteristics. I am going to explain in some detail. Here we are having the torque, and here we are having the speed in x-axis, and this is the fifth harmonic, and this is the seventh harmonic, and this is our fundamental wave, and this is our fundamental wave, and this is our load line. Due to seventh when we it's in the motoring mode and it's in the braking mode, the seventh harmonic and fifth harmonic will superimpose each other and the fundamental wave. Here we are getting the curve like this. Here is this what we are getting here. This is the resultant torque. It is a combination of both fifth and seventh and the fundamental torque. Here we can see that the point A comma B, A and B, that's a load line. Below the load line, we are getting a torque. The motor torque falls below the load torque. At this stage, motor will not accelerating to its normal speed. Means the motor will run at ns by 7 speed. We are not reaching here. We are not reaching here also. Here only the motor will run. That means ns by 7 only. Here only the motor will run. Because of this seventh harmonic, torque is produced in the linear area of operation. Here we are getting the stable point. So the motor run at ns by 7 speed. Means the seventh harmonic torque reaches its maximum positive value just before the 1 by 7th of the ns. If the mechanical load on the shaft involves a constant load torque, that point A, what will happen is induced torque is equal to load torque. We will get a linear operation and a stable operating point there at the lower speed. But we want our the motor will run at a near to synchronous speed, not 1 by 7th of the synchronous speed. Then it's known as a crawling. Then what will happen if crawling happens is we will get a noise and vibration and a higher stator current it produces. It can be reduced by proper choice of coil span. Means we can short pitch the coil if the length of the span is less than 120 degree between two adjacent pole. Then we can reduce it. And skewing, slightly twisting the rotor teeth. By choosing proper combination of the rotor and stator slots, we can minimize crawling. And yesterday sir told we can reduce by chamfering. Chamfering is done. We have to arrange the slots at an angle of 45 degree and cutting the induction motor slots. Why we are cutting the induction motor slots is seventh harmonic get reduced. We have to reduce the harmonics of fifth and seventh harmonics. There. From this we can reduce the crawling. Thank you, sir.
Okay, yeah, very good, very nice, Jyoti. Actually, basically, skiving is nothing but as champering only. So skiving in another popular literature by cutting at an angle of 45 degree, that is twisting, is nothing but as champering only. So these are not two different things. These are the same things. So some book, yeah, yeah. Tell me, Jyoti.
No, sir. I thought that skewing and champering are both are different.
No, 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 no. Skiving is champering only. Some books will say champering, like in English books. If you go for that Australian Chapman and all, they write skiving. But English, like UK authors and all, they say it champering. So the same thing. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Now, Chandramoli, are you ready? Chandramoli. Chandramoli is not present. So will get with the class going. So nice, very well done. Chandramoli, are you there? It's not there. So where is my pen? Which I was right. Okay, so we'll go ahead with the class and one second. Where is my pen? Okay, Chandramoli. Chandramoli is there? Chandramoli. Hello. One second. Pen is today's class. Where it went? Wait for 2 minutes. You please have some patience. This will pen that. Just 2 minutes. Hello. So in today's class, I think Uh, yes. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. Some technical issue here. Okay. So because of that only, something happened to my this while I was connecting. So sorry for the interruption. So now we have. I think we should go about understanding. In the yesterday's class, we saw the various factors that are affecting the induction motor design and the other properties. Especially in the previous class, we saw how the specific magnetic loading is affecting. In today's class, let's see how the electrical loading, that is the ampere conductors, how they affect the machine. So let's go about it. So I'll just open this. Now it's like the Google has collaborated with WebEx, huh? Something like that has. Okay, update WebEx meeting. So present now, but present now window. Okay, share. We are presenting. So are you able to see yesterday's window? Huh?
Yes, sir.
Okay, nice. So where we okay, so where we started yesterday, we started at how does the factors like the specific magnetic loading is affecting. Now there is another term in the induction machine, that is the electrical ampere conductors. So now let's see the effect of ampere conductors and how it will affect the motor and the other properties associated with it. So let's go about it. So the other properties that the electrical conductors, that is, now we want to know for the various other things we have seen, for power factor, for other factors. Now let's go for the choice of ampere conductors. This is the ampere conductors. So as far as the ampere conductors is concerned, so our choice would depend upon the number one consideration here would be, so the copper loss that arises in the ampere conductors and the temperature rise and temperature rise. So this is very important. We have to go for it. So these are the factors that we have to look into it while we are going for the consideration. So the copper loss and the choice of the temperature is very important, and the copper loss and temperature rise is a very important factor, because when we were considering the other losses, we went for the loss. Which losses we went for? We went for the iron loss. Okay, now this is the copper loss. So apart from the copper loss, the other factor that would be important, the number two factor that we have to take into consideration would be your voltage and insulation. So the voltage level, okay, whether it's 132, sorry, whether it's a 3 HP or 5 HP, depending upon the higher rating of a induction motor, our voltage level will be governed, and the insulation level, what insulation, and of course the final factor that involved here would be your overload capacity that we yesterday also saw. Overload capacity. So these are some of the important parameters in the induction motor. As far as the copper loss and temperature rise is concerned, when your ampere conductor increases, that means ampere conductor is basically, you saw in the Jyoti also showed you the Iz into Z. Okay, if you saw the previous equation, the slide shown by her, so ampere conductors is basically the number of currents and the number of turns of phase, so it can be represented. uh, 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 so what happens is basically, so you have to see that Jyoti also showed you your ampere conductors is basically Iz into Z divided by your pi d. This is nothing but ampere conductors. So this is the ampere conductors in the number of stator slots, wherein you saw from the equation also your basically your, for a three phase motor, 2 into twice t phase would be equal to your Z. So that means your t phase was equal to Z by 6. So we are interested in understanding what basically is your, previously also I have shown you. See, this is one T phase, this is another T phase, and from here to here it is Z. So here we are interested to know about the three phase induction motor and the ampere conductors, how it is affecting. So here we can see that your AC will increase. AC will increase. When it will increase your AC? You tell me. AC will increase when your Iz into Z. Either your Z increases, AC will increase. Okay. This is sorry. Your Z cannot increase. Your number of stator slots. So your current, either your current increases or your, see, basically this is Iz into Z into pi d. So what will happen is that either you have to increase your current, okay, or for increasing of AC you can see either you have to do Iz. For increasing AC you have to increase Iz or you increase Z. Okay, okay, that is one thing. But if you are increasing Iz, so what will happen if you are increasing Iz? Your loss would be Iz square into R. So your loss increases. So this is the thing. If you are increasing Z, your cost increases. Cost increases. If you are seeing his, so your loss will increase, your cost will increase. So there are various other factors. So these are the factors that you have to keep into mind before doing it. If you can increase AC you can increase also by increasing the number of stator slots. So that is there, which I've shown you. Or you can increase AC by decreasing the circumference. So these are certain factors. While we are designing, we have to see what we want. We want a cost, we want a loss. What are the factors we are governing? So those governing factors there is very important while we are doing it. So we have to keep into mind the governing factors, and then only we have to go for the design of an machine or any other property. So another property which I just now talked about was your voltage regulation and your insulation. So what happens with the voltage regulation and insulation scenario? So the number second would be your voltage, uh, sorry, not regulation and insulation, voltage and insulation. So voltage, we will see with the voltage what happens is that, see, when you increase the ampere conductors, your Iz and Z increases obviously, and Iz and Z increases, so your mmf will increase. So due to increase in mmf your flux increases, which again increases the voltage rating. Okay, so when voltage, when when voltage, when voltage increases, amount of insulation required is more. So what happens is that for a more suitable value of AC should be chosen. So basically what happens, if you are increasing the ampere conductors, your amount of insulation will also increase. So basically why it happens is that, see, as you can see here, if you are increasing AC, so what happens? Your flux will increase. Your flux, because flux is what? MMF divided by reluctance. And your MMF is what? MMF is number of turns into current. Okay, so this is current. So obviously divided by reluctance. I'll write the symbol. So if you're increasing AC, you just now saw that your pi d, your current is increasing. So if your current is increasing, your flux will increase. So your flux will increase. What happens to your voltage? What happens to your voltage if your flux increases? Tell me. What will happen to the voltage if you increase the flux? Flux is basically what? Flux. If you are increasing the flux, what happens to the voltage? Your voltage E is can be written as rate of change of flux. That is d phi by dt. So if your flux is increasing, your E will increase. So if your flux is increasing, your E is increasing. So the more voltage, would result in more voltage would result in what? Would result in higher insulation. It will result in higher insulation. This is one property. Okay, more voltage will result in higher insulation. Apart from that, okay, apart from that, you have one more property. Okay, what is the property? The third property which I discussed with you previously. So there were the ampere turns when you are governing, that is the overload capacity. So again, with the overload capacity, you have the same thing. So the overload capacity will depend upon these factors only. So if you see to the overload capacity, what happens when your ampere conductor increases, number of conductors can have to increase, and hence if the number of conductors would increase, so that means the number of turns would increase, because the number of turns is basically, if Z increases, Z we saw is 60 phase. This is in case, this is for 3 phase. Now if Z is equal to 2 times, this is for a single phase. So what happens is that if for overload capacity, if you are increasing your value of this, so it increases the diameter. So when diameter, see, we have two things. We have seen your AC is equal to Iz into Z by pi d. So either we decrease the dia to increase AC, okay, pi is constant, or we increase Iz, or we increase Z. Okay, so these are the three scenarios we encounter over here. So in other words, we can say that the overload capacity of the machine decreases. How it will decrease? See, basically, if you are increasing AC, your Iz by AC, so you can increase the Z. And if you are increasing the Z, what happens is there, your cost will go up. So you are seeing your dia over there is inversely proportional to the reactance. Okay, so you have to look very carefully when you are taking for the overload capacity. See, if you are increasing the number of turns, what happens? The leakage reactance increases. So if you are increasing Z, number of turns increases and the leakage reactance increases. So if the leakage reactance of a machine you have to increase, which this leakage reactance will cause decrease in the diameter. So when diameter decreases, what happens that, so the output would, what happen if the dia decreases? What will happen? Overall, it will improve the overload capacity if you are decreasing the diameter. So basically, these are the factors which you have to take into consideration. And normally, the ampere conductors for a machine which we are selecting is between 5,000 to 45,000 ampere conductor per meter. So this is one of the important factors. Now we are seeing there is a rotatory machine. So the machine is rotating with some speed, and this speed is known as peripheral this speed is known as peripheral speed. So this peripheral speed, it depends upon your pi, your dia, and your ns. Okay, so this is the speed with which the machine is moving, pi d ns by c. This is the speed with which it is moving. This is the peripheral speed. The distance covered by the machine per unit time is known as its peripheral speed. So we can say the distance covered by the machine per unit time, the distance covered by the machine per unit time is known as its peripheral speed. So this is essentially the peripheral speed. And now we can see that the peripheral speed can be expressed like VA. So let this be your peripheral speed. So you can happily write your VA is equal to pi d ns, which earlier also I have shown you. So where your d is the diameter of the machine and ns is the synchronous speed in rps. Okay, so the diameter of the machine should be chosen in such a manner the peripheral speed should not exceed 30 meter per second. So in an induction machine, the dia of the machine should be chosen. The dia, that is the diameter dia of the machine, should be chosen in such a manner where VA, this is the peripheral speed, should not exceed 30 meter per second. What is the reason for this? Why? See, all the machine or the component are mechanical parts. They have some limitations. If you rotate them with a very large speed, what happens is that the mechanical parts will break down. It will fall off. That's why when you are in your previous semester doing the DC series motor experiment, so we noticed that the DC series motor should not be started without load. So if you start it without load, it will run at dangerously high speed and it will result into the breakdown of the motor. Similarly, in an induction motor, when you are designing an induction motor, the safe limit is to operate it within this range. So this is the design consideration. Now let's go for the design of the stator winding and let's see how the stator winding design will form. So now we understood the three-phase induction motor output equation and what are the factors that are governing the three-phase induction motor, and we discussed the factors. Now let's go for the design of stator. Okay, so as far as the stator is concerned, so what are the properties we have to look in stator? So in stator, the number one property that you have to go for is the number of stator conductors. Number of stator conductors. This is at number one, number of stator conductors. Number second property that you will look into would be the cross section of stator conductors, that is CSA. This is cross sectional area of stator conductors. Okay, the number third property that we are interested here would be, see, the stator winding itself. Stator winding, how we are winding the stator, that is important, and how we are choosing the type of the stator winding, because all the copper losses are attributed to this stator winding. Okay, and usually the rotor copper loss is very less in case of induction motor. If you go back to your previous semester, you'll also understand. So usually it's neglected if you don't require a very precise calculation. Then slot dimension, okay, slot dimensions, and at number fifth we will say the depth of the stator core, the depth of stator core. So these are some of the properties that we are interested in. So let's understand what how many number of stator conductors will require. So as far as the number of stator conductors is required, so again the number of stator conductors per phase would be equal to, that is your Z. So when we are talking about this number one, so it would be Z. Z previously also we have seen Z is equal to 2 times T phase. So this Z has been equal to 2 times T phase, and now we have to go into the understanding, like this Z is 2 times T phase. Now in case of a 3-phase induction motor, that Z would be equal to 3, because this will come for phase 2 times T phase. So Z would be equal to 6 times T phase. So when we are considering the stator conductors, so again we see the stator EMF per phase. So EMF per phase, if we see EMF per phase, stator EMF per phase. So we have seen the stator EMF per phase. Jyoti has also discussed while today's beginning of the class. It was nothing but 4.44 F phi, okay, TS kW. So these are the terms where this kW is the winding factor. That kW is equal to, the previous semester you have seen, kW is equal to kp into kd. Okay, this is the pitch factor, this is the distribution factor. So kW is the winding factor in the case of induction motor that you have to take. So these are the terminologies we are seeing. So this here you can see 4.44 F phi m kWs, and sorry, that this is per phase. So this is EMF per phase, or in other terms we can say, sorry, so EMF, so we can write TS. TS is equal to, if we have to write TS, TS can be written as, this is EMF, that is, this is E phase. But if we want to write TS, this would be E phase divided by 4.44 F phi TSL KW. So this is E phase would be equal to this. So we can see that TS is equal to this. Okay, Z is equal to 6 times T phase. So sorry, this is T phase. Sorry, Z is equal to, or other, in other words, T phase is equal to Z by 6. Now if you want to calculate Z here, we can substitute here Z by 6. So this would be E phase, and the same denominator. Okay, let this be denominator, I will not repeat. So this D will come over here. So this is the thing that we have seen. So how the terms of the stator conductor are related. Now let's go for the cross sectional area. So as far as the cross sectional area of the stator conductor is concerned, let us consider AS is equal to the cross section of the stator conductors in millimeter square. And see, basically when you are calculating, so you have to see the dimensions very well. So if you are taking in millimeter square, so you have to take the cross sectional area also in millimeter square, because your current density will be always in ampere per millimeter square, and sometimes it can be in centimeter square also. At that time I have told you, you have to multiply it with 10 power 4. When if you are taking it in meter, then you have to convert that into other terms. So you have to see what basically the cross sectional area of the conductor is considered, because CSA, it can is the cross sectional area. So let's move to, see, we have this conductor, stator conductor. Why next slide is no? We have, okay, 2019. Okay, we are limited here. Okay, to go back. Slides more, only 20 slides per session. Okay, I'll rub this slide over here. So let's see, or clear. What is this? Clear frame. Okay, I'll clear this frame. Hmm. Okay. Now, now we have to move to the cross-sectional area of a machine. So as far as the cross-sectional area of the machine is concerned, so we see the cross-sectional area, cross cross-sectional area, cross-sectional area. We are about to go about the cross-sectional area. So it depends upon a lot of factors. Your cross-sectional area. See, you will have this winding would be there. Okay, winding. So it we cannot be in meter. It has to be in millimeter square because the small winding cannot be in meter. Okay. So cross-sectional area you have, let AS be your cross-sectional area of stator conductor in millimeter square, and your IS is stator current per phase. Okay, you can write IS is your stator current per phase, stator current per phase. Okay, and now if you are seeing your current density, that is current density for stator winding would be around 3 to 5 ampere per millimeter square. So stator current per phase, if you want to write your per phase, that is IS by the number of phases. Stator current per phase, this is the stator current per phase. If you want to express in terms of kVA, so you can write input kVA into 10 power 3 divided by 3 times into ES. So you have noticed where your ES is stator EMF per phase. This is your basically stator EMF per phase. So these are the terminologies you are seeing. So your cross-sectional area you have also studied in the previous. You can express in terms of IS by what? This. Okay. And this would be in millimeter square. So if you want, if you have the value of ES, you have the value of kVA, you get the value of current. Substitute here current value. This value you take anywhere between 3 to 5, you get the cross-sectional area of the machine. So the number third factor that we are interested in, the stator winding. Now what happens is that stator winding depends upon the type of the machine that is involved. Now if you have a small machine, single layer winding with the semi-closed slots are used, whereas for induction and larger machines, double layer winding with open slots are used. See, as far as the AC machine is concerned, the slots we are using, like the winding diagram, which you have not studied. I think you have studied machine design. At least you must have studied. Ratika, you have studied lap and wave winding. See, I see if you have a pattern like this. Okay. Yes, I use different color. Okay. This is so this type of winding arrangement is called as wave winding. Wave winding. I have taught you in the DC also. And other arrangement, simple arrangement like this. This is called as lap winding. Chaitra? Chaitra?
Yes, sir.
Are you seeing? Yeah, because in between you have to talk now. Sometimes what happens is that I might be teaching and connection might be lost because it's a technical scenario. So you respond in between. Okay. So you are understand. Okay. So this type of arrangement, you now this was about the machine. So like how do we know the machine is like a small or a large machine, and which type of winding and which type of single layer or double layer we will employ. So I'll just give for 2 3 minutes more because I lost some time, 5 to 7 minutes I lost. So please bear on me. So because okay, okay. So now the machine, as we have seen that for larger winding with open slots are used. So larger winding is preferable as it causes decrease in copper loss. So no. So what happens is that, see, what we use is that there is a single layer winding. In a single layer winding, you have a single layer and you have a double layer winding. I'm not able to draw here properly. So basically, we have a double layer winding. What it does is that double layer would mean, see, basically in the single layer winding, your Z was equal to 2 times turn per phase. Okay. So twice the number of turns, but in a double layer winding, your Z would be equal to almost T phase. So your number of turns, it's a double layer winding basically. So what happens is your copper loss will increase. Copper loss will decrease in case of a double layer winding, because the number of stator conductors would decrease because the number of turns is in itself is equal to the number of stator slots. So double layer winding is preferable as it causes decrease in copper loss, and if the loss increases, efficiency increases. And single layer winding is selected for machines that are less than 220 kilowatt, rated voltage is less than 600 volt, dia of the machine is less than 40 centimeters. So you just keep into your mind, for a larger machine we have double layer. For a large machine, for large for large machine we incorporate double layer. For small machine we use, for small machine we are using single layer winding. So single layer we'll use for machines that is like rated power is less than 20 kilowatt, number one. Number two thing is that rated voltage is less than 600 volt, and dia of machine dia of the machine is less than 40 centimeters. So this is the dia of the machine is less than 40 centimeters. So regarding the other factors we'll be seeing in tomorrow's Monday's class, and then we'll go about the numerical. So here I'll stop my class over here. So please give the attendance. Yeah, please give the attendance and you can join. I've taken, next class is free, huh? Ratika?
No, sir.
Okay. You have a class at 10:10, huh?
Yes, sir. We have SS.
Okay. Then you can. I will break it here. 5 minutes break at least because I took more than that. Sorry. Okay. You just give the attendance. Otherwise, I would have continued because, yeah. हाँ हेलो, गुड मॉर्निंग सर। जी जी, रेवा से मुझे कल, इनफैक्ट मैं उनको मैसेज करता उससे पहले उन्होंने मैसेज मुझे किया। बोलते हैं आपके पेपर में प्लेगरिज्म है और इसको 25 अक्टूबर तक आप ठीक करके वापस भेजिए। वहां से उन्होंने मुझे आज से पहले मतलब सितंबर 7 को पेपर की एक्सेप्टेंस की नोटिफिकेशन भेजी है। आप बोल रहे हैं कि आपके पेपर में 30% से ज्यादा प्लेगरिज्म है, ये क्या मतलब? हाँ, अब वो तो ठीक है, वो मगर ये तो मुझे समझ में नहीं आ रहा ना। पहले वो जब मैंने पेपर डाला, उन्होंने बोला आपका पेपर पहले इनिशियल स्क्रीनिंग से पास हो गया, ठीक है। उसके बाद उन्होंने सीधे मुझे एक्सेप्टेंस की नोटिफिकेशन दी। अब वो बोल रहे हैं आपके पेपर में प्लेजरिज्म है। क्या मतलब अब वो फिर से मतलब एक्सेप्ट है कि नहीं है? ये टेंशन की नहीं, टेंशन की बात नहीं है। अब मैं उनको बोलता मैं एक और पेपर भेजता, तो वो तब बोलूंगा ना मैं, जब मैं बोलूंगा मतलब मेरा पहला पेपर एक्सेप्टेड है कि नहीं है अच्छे से। आ रही बात समझ में आपको? फोन नहीं, मैसेज आया, मैं फॉरवर्ड करता हूँ आपको मैसेज। ईमेल, हाँ ईमेल आया मुझे रेवा का। अच्छा, वो आया, उसमें लिखा है ना प्लेगरिज्म है। रिपोर्ट में मेरे इसमें नहीं खुल रहा है। इसमें कितना कितना परसेंट दिखा रहे हो? हाँ, नहीं परसेंटेज कितना दिखा रहा है? अच्छा, वो निकालना है तो हो जाएगा काम। मैं उस प्लेगरिज्म को निकालूंगा, ठीक है। फिर मैं आपको भेजता हूँ। आपको आता है ना वो फॉर्मेट वगैरह कुछ? नहीं, वो फॉर्मेट का भी इशू बोल रहे हैं ना। फॉर्मेटिंग, प्रॉपर फॉर्मेटिंग में भेजो। पिछली बार आपने भेजा ना उसको, वही फॉर्मेट में आप डाल दो। उसको कॉपी पेस्ट कर दो, मैं वर्ड फाइल भी भेज देता हूँ आपको। तो आप डाल दो उसको, तो कल दे देंगे उसको। हाँ हाँ, एक काम करी, मतलब मैं जब इनसे बात करता हूँ ना, मतलब मैं उतना है ना सीनियर हूँ, मुझे उतना बात नहीं करना आता है। आप, क्योंकि आपका भी नाम है ना पेपर में, आप भी उनको बोलो हमारा एक पेपर है इसमें। नहीं नहीं, नहीं नहीं, वो तो ठीक है। नहीं नहीं, आप उनसे फोन पे बात कर लो। मैंने एक दो बार किया फोन, उसने नहीं उठाया वहां पर ना, वहां पर। तो मैंने मगर शाम को किया उनको, मतलब 5, मैं दिन में थोड़ा सा बिजी था। तो आप अभी हो ना वहां पर, मुझे थोड़ा सा मतलब ना, मुझे नहीं आएगा, मतलब मुझे उस तरीके से बात करना। वो बोलेगा कौन बोल रहा है क्या, वो आवाज से भी फर्क पता चलता है, ये यंग आदमी, एक्सपीरियंस आदमी है। नहीं पता। हाँ, नहीं होता है सर, नहीं 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 होता है, ये पता चल जाता है। कहाँ, किसके चक्कर में? अच्छा। नहीं नहीं नहीं, थोड़ा एक्सपीरियंस, नहीं थोड़ा जब एक्सपीरियंस आदमी फोन पे बात करता है ना, तो उसकी लैंग्वेज अलग होती है। हाँ, नहीं वो, नहीं आप पूछो ना उनको फोन कर। मुझे लग रहा है अगर मैंने फोन वोन किया ना, बोलेंगे चल तेरा ये पेपर भी खत्म। वो आप कर दो उनको एक बार ना। मतलब मैं ऐसे हूँ, डॉक्टर शैलेंद्र, एसोसिएट प्रोफेसर CMRIT तो जब बोलते हैं, बोलेंगे आपको लो वहां से, लो यहाँ पर लो, जिस तरह उस असिस्टेंट असिस्टेंट को थोड़ा उतना रिस्पेक्ट नहीं है। एसोसिएट अच्छा ये है, 20 साल से है, थोड़ा बहुत फर्क पड़ता है। सामने के आदमी को फर्क पड़ता है। एक एक जूनियर टीचर और एक सीनियर टीचर का फर्क पड़ता है, बहुत फर्क पड़ता है। वो आपको लग रहा है। अच्छा 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 अच्छा, हाँ। वो मैं बोलूंगा, पता है वो किस लिहाज में? वो हो गया बच्चों के साथ, ये पब्लिकेशन के साथ नहीं, पब्लिकेशन में सीनियर टीचर की। जी जी। हम्म, हाँ, आप करो उसको, आप एक बार करो फोन उसको ना। हाँ, मुझे थोड़ा सा मतलब आई एम फीलिंग लिटिल अनकंफर्टेबल, मतलब ना वो फोन करने में, वो वहां से कुछ बोलेगा। मैंने आज तक कभी किया नहीं है फोन। नहीं नहीं, मैंने आज तक कभी किसी कॉन्फ्रेंस वाले को नहीं किया है फोन, ये फैक्ट है। तो ओके। ओके सर। जी जी सर।